Good evening. We're here with Legacy Physical Therapy with physical therapists Brooke and Jamie. They're here to talk about all of our pelvic floor health questions and take any questions that you may have as well. Feel free anytime during our video to pop your questions down below, or you can Facebook message them to us if that would be better for you. So thank you for talking with us tonight. Happy to be here.
Happy to.
Yes.
Thank you for coming out.
So tell us a little bit about your practice here.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. I'm the owner here at Legacy Physical Therapy, and we actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary of being here serving the community here in St. Louis. And Jamie and I specialize in working with women who are sick of dealing with bladder leakage, sick of dealing with pelvic pain, want to make sure that they can get their body back after having their baby, no matter how long ago that was. And we help them to achieve this in a conservative manner and achieve their goals that they want to achieve with their health, as far as being active, taking care of their family, playing with their kids, and all while maintaining their pelvic health.
Good summary.
I tried.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Jamie Coker, and I can't say much more about it. She did so good. But we're both here to help any woman who needs help, pregnancy, postpartum, even years later. So I have to say that it doesn't look like a typical doctor's office like you would think. It's very warm and homey and not somewhere where you would think that you would go for therapy. It's very inviting, I have to say.
Thank you. We tried to make it that way because we realize people are coming here and going to be talking to us sometimes about stuff that they're not very comfortable talking about, and so we didn't want the place to feel sterile, clinical, and cold. We wanted people to feel as comfortable as possible, and we can't see them on the film right now, but we have baby toys all over the place because we love when people bring their little kids and their babies in with them, so we get to play with them too. So
Excellent. Well, we'll jump into some questions here. What, if any, sexual pain is normal during pregnancy, and what are the best ways to remedy?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm going to give you an answer that you're probably going to hear Jamie and I repeat a lot. It's common, but it's not normal. Those are two different things. So many women may experience pain during intercourse, either during their pregnancy or early or in the postpartum time afterwards, but none of it's normal. Okay, pain or intercourse sex should not be painful. It should be a pleasurable experience. So if you are experiencing pain, there are things that you can do about it. One of the things that makes me really sad is, especially in the postpartum time frame, hearing women say, well, I just thought it was normal. I had kids and I just thought that was part of it, that I'm going to have pain with sex now. And that's not the case. There are things that you can do. I keep hitting the pelvis here. So I'm holding my pelvis, not my pelvis. I'm holding a model of the pelvis here. And that's so our pelvis is this big bony structure, and at the bottom of it is we have all of these different muscles here. Okay, and these muscles support our pelvic organs, and they need to contract and relax just like muscles anywhere else in our body. And that's where Jamie and I can be helpful, is that sometimes just like our shoulder can have pains or a knee can have pains, we can get pains in our vagina, in our perineum, around this area. And during intercourse is one of the most common times that people can notice it. And so, but there are things that women can do to get help for it and to get it to go away. So don't just accept that, this is something that you're just stuck dealing with, especially if you've been told by a provider in healthcare who has maybe said, you just have to deal with this. Please, please, please don't believe that and go on and seek out another provider, because there are things that you can do. And unfortunately, Jamie and I all too often see women who have seen 3, 4, 5 different providers and who haven't given them any real answers.
That gives a lot of hope to people who are having problems with this.
Yeah.
It's good. Is any kind of bladder leakage normal during pregnancy or postpartum? And I'm going to assume that you're going to answer the same way that you just did.
It is common, but not normal. Even if you've only leaked once, that is bladder leakage, and that is not something that is normal. It's something that we hear often. We joke about it a lot, especially when we're pregnant. But it's definitely something that is not normal. You should try to seek out some help for that. Even the smallest of leaks could become bigger leaks, and so you want to really tackle it as soon as you possibly can, just to get it under control. I've seen a lot of women in their pregnancies that have maybe had a couple of little leaks here and there, but come in for an assessment. Get them set up with some nice tools, and it doesn't take a lot of time to kind of treat when you get it kind of tackled earlier on.
Are there some quick tips that you could share with our listeners or our
Yeah.
viewers that would help with something like this?
Yeah.
Something that they could do at home.
Yeah, so what we're normally hearing, definitely during pregnancy, is I sneezed and I leaked, I coughed and I leaked. So one of the best things that you can do is what we like to call, I tend to call squeeze before you sneeze. So if you are feeling a sneeze come on or a cough come on, even laugh, you can Kegel. Right before, kind of squeeze the muscles right around the vaginal area, like Brooke was showing these guys right here. Squeeze those guys like you're trying to hold back the flow of urine or trying to stop gas from coming out. So tighten those muscles up before you squeeze or cough, and that can sometimes help as long as you time it out right. But that's one of the first things I teach women to do is, that squeeze before you sneeze technique. So.
Excellent. It's going to be our catchphrase too.
Yeah. Common but not normal, squeeze before you sneeze.
Yes. Can moms do anything to prevent vaginal tearing during birth?
So yes, there are things that can be done to help with that. It's not a guarantee that you're going to completely prevent vaginal tearing from happening, but you can do something that's called perineal stretching to help the tissue around the vaginal opening get prepared for delivery and to start to stretch more. So again, on the pelvis here, I don't know. Ooh, yeah, look at that. All right, so let's see if I can do this. So this is our clitoris, our urethra, our vagina, and our anus. This area right here in between the anus and the vagina is called our perineum, and it needs to stretch a lot when we're going to deliver a baby. And so one of the ways that you can do that perineal stretching is either you or a partner can put some lubricant on your finger or your thumb and insert it into the vaginal canal. And then you're going to do like a U-like motion back and forth, trying to stretch it a little bit deeper and deeper each time with it. It shouldn't be painful. You might feel a stretchy, burning sensation with it, but you're not going for pain. But we're just trying to introduce this tissue to the stretch that it is about to have happened to it with the vaginal delivery. So usually tell people to start that around their 36th week of pregnancy. And honestly, if they can, do it daily for maybe about 5 minutes a day up until delivery to try and help make sure that tissue stretches as well as possible.
Excellent. Do you have any recommendations for moms with especially severe tears?
So on postpartum, many women do deal with tears or they're dealing with a healing episiotomy in the area. And so first and foremost is do let it heal, and that do give yourself time for rest and recovery. And so, I am a big fan of turning little tux pads into icers and laying it over that area as much as needed during that early period. Also a fan of a bag of frozen peas or frozen corn in little snack baggies to be an icer in that area. But let your body rest and recover because it definitely needs that time to do that. Once you have seen your OBGYN at your 6-week checkup, and then they're going to check out and make sure that scar is healing well. After that point, once that scar is okayed as far as that it's healing well, you can start to do some stretching and movement to the tissues there. So scars respond really well to stretch put upon them. Think about if you've ever fallen down and scraped your knee. It feels really stiff at first, but the more you move, bend, and straighten that knee, the more that scar tissue kind of goes away and just kind of moves more freely. So we want to do that to the vaginal tissue as well here around the scar. So same thing kind of as we talked about before, a simple way is just making that U motion there. If you're finding that it is way too painful and you're having a lot of issues with it, that is a time to talk with a pelvic physical therapist because we can give you specific techniques and different ideas that you can do to try and make that go a little bit more smoothly for you.
Is there anything that we can do to help get rid of the so-called mommy tummy?
Oh, this is a hot question. We get this all the time.
There's lots of things that you can do for it. One of the things that you want to make sure about when you've got the mom tummy or you're noticing that your stomach is not changing is you want to be screened for a diastasis recti. You want to make sure that, you know, your abdominals have, if they have split, that's what a diastasis is, the abdominal wall splitting, that they are coming together, or, you know, they're getting as close together as possible. So you want to be screened for a diastasis. We do free screens here at Legacy for moms who are questioning whether or not they have one. You can definitely ask your OB, midwife, doula to check for that as well. And if you have one, that's a great time to, you know, definitely be assessed from a women's health physical therapist to see how you can be treated and get, you know, as much of that rehabilitation done on the abdominal wall for sure. Simple things, you know, check your posture. Okay, we tend to have really poor posture after baby just because we've had a baby in our belly for a long time. Our posture has to change and adapt to the growing baby and the extra, you know, weight and stretch that's put on our body. So posture is one of the first things that we like to work on with our patients here. So, you know, a lot of times we have like rounded shoulders, or, you know, our rib cages are down or really flared out and open. So to just kind of stand sideways in the mirror and kind of check yourself to see if you're, you know, lined up nice and straight, or if you're kind of tilted one way or the other. Definitely it's about restoring your whole core as well. So, you know, there's lots of controversial kind of exercises and information out there on diastasis. There's lots of great programs for curing the mommy tummy, but just to make sure that your whole core is functioning, including your pelvic floor. I think we focus so much on our abs when we're postpartum, we forget about all the other components, and the pelvic floor is one of the components of our core, and it's really important just to get kind of an overall rehabilitation to get the mom belly to go away. So those are kind of some big things to, kind of look at. There's definitely some good things you can do for it.
One of the things that I like to tell my patients because you've just had this baby, you're now going to do all of this lifting, and this baby is an ever-growing weight that you're going to have to lift more and more, and then there's the lovely car seat and all that fun stuff that you get to lift now that you had no idea that you were going to have to lug around. A simple phrase I use is blow before you go, and a colleague of ours in the PT field, her name's Julie Weeb, has a wonderful demonstration of this on her website. JulieWeebPT.com, I think is her website. Yes. Anyways, it is just a reminder that we want to blow out before we're going to lift up anything heavy, like a toddler, like a baby in a car seat. And that blowing out motion actually, for many women, is counterintuitive. They, you know, when they have to lift something heavier, they kind of grunt and strain with it and hold their breath. That puts a lot of pressure out on this healing belly, and pressure out can feel very, very stable, but it's not us using the muscles well. And so when we do blow before we go, it gets us to exhale. And as we exhale, we actually should be able to kind of hug our belly in a little bit more and even get our pelvic floor to go in a little bit more. So we create this nice kind of corset of support around us as we're doing some kind of lifting there. And that's so, because one of the things that Jamie and I hear all the time is a lot of women kind of want that silver bullet exercise that's going to make this change. And I wish we had that. That'd be awesome. And it doesn't exist. And that, and what we tell people all the time is, you know, it's not about this 20-minute exercise program that you're doing or that we're going to show you about. It's what else are you doing the other 23 hours and 40 minutes of the day, you know? So we can't, if you can do 20 minutes of great ab exercise, but if you have awful posture and you're constantly holding your breath and pushing your belly out the rest of the day, it's going to be really hard for that to heal. So
some good, easy stuff to remember too.
Right.
So let's say my doctor released me at my 6-week appointment to go back to all activity. Why would I need to see a pelvic and physical therapist as well?
We've talked for a long time.
Oh, yes, we
did.
Go on setbacks. Okay. Well, 6 weeks is a very short period of time when we're talking
Sure.
about the whole length of healing. And in those 6 weeks, you've probably struggled to sleep. You're probably just eating when you can and how you can. And so if you think, okay, I'm not in generally the best state overall from a nutrition, hydration, sleep, overall kind of thing, and then you try to go out and go back to CrossFit or a huge level of exercise, or you try to go out for a run, your body's probably not ready yet, even if it feels fine. Okay. And so what we see is that some women will do that. They've been released at 6 weeks. They will just go out because their body feels fine. And weeks and even months later, then they end up having issues that they didn't realize. So as pelvic physical therapists, we feel it's important for every postpartum woman to come in and get screened, even if they do feel fine, because there's inevitably some weakness somewhere, potentially scar tissue like Brooke was talking about that they didn't realize was hurting or was a problem. And there's just a need to restore our bodies a little bit more than what we've done for those first 6 weeks. So, there's lots of things that we come up with on that exam that women didn't even realize that they had going on. And it's really to prevent issues from coming up down the road.
Definitely. And your OBs and midwives are wonderful, amazing resources who have years of training. They are not experts in the musculoskeletal system. That is what a physical therapist goes to school for, is to learn about the musculoskeletal system. And Jamie and I spend all day long working with women, trying to help them figure out how to use their muscles in and around their core and pelvic area correctly. And so many women get that release at 6 weeks, like everything's okay, and they go try stuff and they're having bladder leakage, or they're feeling pelvic heaviness when they try and work out, or they're doing, they're like, I've been doing this ab workout for the last 8 weeks and my belly looks worse than it did before. And that's where a physical therapist, especially a women's health physical therapist, can be a good partner for you to make sure that you are doing everything correctly. Jamie and I love when we get a person who comes in, gets evaluated, and we're like, you're doing awesome.
Yeah.
You can go back to doing these exercises. You can, do what you want this way. And then we also love when we catch someone early who's like, hey, I'm glad you came in, because if we didn't and you wanted to go back to doing CrossFit, you were going to be at risk for pelvic prolapse or pelvic pain issues or a whole host of different things. And so we get to catch it and get people set up early on so that they can have a lifetime of fitness and activity. Because that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know, is that many, many problems that women start to experience when they reach menopause, like pelvic organ prolapse, like bladder leakage, like pain with intercourse, actually start back in the childbearing years. And our body is amazing at compensating. It's designed to have many compensatory tools to be able to do what we need to do. So you may not have any issues, in your childbearing years, all the way up until you hit menopause. And then all of a sudden menopause happens and women think that right then is when the problems start. But really, our body compensated for years, and now 20, 30 years later, the body's like, I can't do this anymore. And that's when we start to see the issues. And it's not that we can't do anything then. We definitely can make changes then. But Jamie and I would much rather prevent back here, so that you don't have any issues up here, so that you don't need medication, you don't need surgery, you don't need extensive therapy and that. So there's stuff that you can do early on to really keep yourself from having to need that stuff.
And I would even say here, a lot of patients too say, well, I had this kind of small bladder leakage, or maybe, I was going to the bathroom too often to start with, but it was such a minor issue. And then a year later, they've got more bladder issues, more problems. And so the sooner that you can get even what feels to you maybe like the smallest issues taken care of, the better, because then, again, treated at 6 weeks or treated at 6 years, you could definitely do that. But, a minor issue is so much easier to treat. And so for the woman to see improvements, faster than more chronic type issues as well. The other thing I wanted to mention, I thought of it as you were saying this, is a lot of women may not have an issue right away after their first pregnancy. And so they think, I'm fine, I don't need to do anything about it, or I'm going to keep having children, and so I don't need to really do anything about it right now. I'll just wait until I'm finished having children. And we would say, don't do it in that order. Maybe, get treatment more proactively, because even if you are not having an issue or even minor issues and you do plan to have more children, it's better to get treatment between pregnancies, so that as you have hopefully subsequent pregnancies, that your outcomes are even better and your symptoms don't get worse. So I've had a lot of patients that are like, I should have done this 3 pregnancies ago. And I'm like, but you're here now. You're here now. But definitely, I've seen an influx of first-time moms coming in, which is fantastic. And, you know, I highly recommend coming in, you know, to treat those little things, or even, you know, hopefully treating nothing, just to clear the air before you know, have another pregnancy or more kids.
Have we had any questions posted in? We did have one question sent in. A lady who has 2 kids, one is about a year old now. She said that she feels like she has to pee all day. She goes, and then she's fine. And then when she goes to bed at night, she goes before and then lays down, and then like once she's ready to fall asleep, she has to pee again. And she's been checked for UTIs and prolapse and all that fun stuff. Is there anything that she could do to help?
Yes, there's definitely things you can do to help. So great first that you've gotten checked out, that you don't have UTI, you don't have a prolapse.
Sure,
That's awesome.
for sure.
So that's very good. One of the things that comes to mind is that with 2 young kiddos at home, that most likely you're not getting very much time alone in the bathroom, and you're trying to probably empty your bladder very quickly and get back to whatever's happening outside the bathroom. And so oftentimes moms in that situation aren't really emptying well. So my first suggestion is during the daytime, even if it means having your little ones run around your feet in the bathroom, try sitting down on the toilet and taking 10 deep breaths to really make sure that you're emptying fully while during the daytime. And then with nighttime, what's probably happening then is that once you finally lay down, your bladder and you are finally relaxed enough that your bladder's like, yay, we can go now. And so I would recommend that try and get everything done with your kind of nighttime routine, and then your very last thing be, I'm going to sit down on the toilet, and again, try and take those 10 deep breaths to see if you can empty better. If after trying that you're not noticing any difference, then it's definitely worthwhile to come get checked out by a pelvic physical therapist to evaluate what's going on with the pelvic floor muscles, because your pelvic floor muscles might not be working the way that they are supposed to be. When we urinate, they need to relax and let go, and sometimes they're not doing that as well as they should be, and so women aren't getting to fully empty, and that's why they keep feeling the urge more and more often. So that would be something to get evaluated. But try the techniques that we talked about as far as taking some deep breaths and seeing if that makes a difference for you first. So, very cool.
Excellent information.
Cool. Well, we know that many women have no idea what women's health or pelvic health physical therapy is. And so we really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys and answer people's questions. Because we know that many women have no clue what pelvic physical therapy is, we tried to make our website as informative as possible. You were reading through some of our ebooks that we have, and I learned lots of good information.
I did.
So we have several different ebooks on our website that give free information about various things related to pregnancy, postpartum, bladder issues, pelvic prolapse. So our website is www.legacytherapystl.com. Jamie and I love helping women out. If you have questions, just want to talk to someone, please give us a call here. We are happy to try and be a resource and answer any questions that you have.